All right, everybody, I have my something blue. I'm wearing white. Let's talk about a wedding. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mandy Margaret page. You may have seen on the Facebook page that there is a reason that I have not recorded a video in a while. It's been a little busy. I went back to work, for those of you that don't know, and then 2 weeks ago, the last 2 weeks especially, have been very busy. We brought home our newest family member. He is a 3-month-old lab blue heeler mix, and he is our rescue puppy. We got him from one of the local rescues. He's the love of my life, and we are so excited that we were able to finally add another puppy to the family because we've wanted to adopt another dog, and we were waiting because we do, for those of you that don't know, we have 2 cats in the home. We do have a chinchilla, but the chinchilla kind of has her own space also. But we also have Mandy, obviously, who is a senior dog. So waiting to find the right fit for her, I was kind of surprised to find that the right fit was a puppy, a little guy. So we're very excited about that. And then obviously the title of this video, the intro of this video, if you follow my page, if you know me personally, I got married exactly a week ago today. So that is very exciting. We obviously have had to change a lot, so my heart goes out to anybody who's been planning, whether it be a wedding or some other big event. I know there's a lot of things going on right now, and I feel like especially if you have an event canceled, that maybe it seems like we shouldn't talk about that or it's not a big enough problem, but I also see that some people are grieving the loss of, even if it's not a wedding, their favorite event of the year. I know coming up, we've started talking about Thanksgiving in my family, and that's going to be a hard one for me, so that all being said, we were able to have an intimate ceremony. We were supposed to get married at a venue, but we had a beautiful ceremony in my mother's backyard with very few people, and then we were able to stream it virtually for all of our friends and family, which was really special. And I might make a separate video talking a little bit about that. So this channel isn't really about weddings, but wedding culture is very interesting. And our experience, I think, the last couple months has been kind of interesting. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. I had a couple of cute ideas about how to include people you might be missing or things like that that might even be relevant after COVID, after we have a vaccine or after whatever precautions are able to be taken, that maybe we can have bigger events like that again. Which makes a perfect segue for us because today I want to talk about weddings. Now, I have thought a little bit about maybe making this more of a series on this channel, talking a little bit more about some of the things with our wedding. I had a couple of ideas of how we included people that weren't able to attend that I think went really well, and I really enjoyed them, and they also felt meaningful to us. So, and a couple other things that happen with weddings. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know, but I always kind of tend more toward the mental health side of all of my experiences. So today I'm going to focus a bit more on my personal wedding experiences and specifically talk a bit about body image. We're going to talk mainly about the experience around getting my dress today, what that was like, and some other things to do with body image. But also we're going to be talking a little bit about the culture of weddings, the expectation, the pressures, and hopefully some tips I can share with you guys on how I was able to cope, the things I did wrong that you should probably avoid if you can, and overall just to have a conversation about this because it's something that was really a challenge for me. So before I do get started having that conversation, I'm going to put a quick disclaimer in this video. I will be discussing things including weight, body image, clothing sizes, food habits, dieting, etc., etc. So while I do take precautions, I try to avoid saying specific numbers as they pertain to me. The only time I do use numbers as far as I'm planning is to clarify because I think some things get confusing without them. Other than that, I am going to avoid that as a precaution. I also will not be including any photos of me in my wedding dress, anything like that in this video specifically because it's more about the conversation and I kind of want to keep the focus there if that's possible. There will, as always, be resources in the description box. I am going to make another note here that's kind of a disclaimer for me more than anything else. When I'm talking about this, for those of you that don't know, I am diagnosed with body dysmorphic disorder. I don't want there to be any disparities here, which is why I want to bring it up. Negative body image and body dysmorphic disorder are two different things, and that's why I've personally chosen stories that pertain to body image struggles. Just a quick disclaimer, because I know I've brought up BDD on my channel before. I know I've brought up BDD on the Facebook page. That is not what we are talking about here. Yes, they are things that live in the same world. I am not enough of an expert on body dysmorphic disorder as it pertains to diagnostics and things like that to really discuss that in depth. And I'm also personally not in a place where I feel comfortable doing it. So just a heads up that this is not the same thing. Let me set the stage a little bit now. So I was never somebody who had an image of my wedding dress in mind. When we were going looking for prom dresses, I didn't have a dress that I wanted. I had a puppy who was making noises in the background. Primarily because I never really felt comfortable or beautiful or any of the things I thought I was supposed to feel like. Could be a whole nother video with the supposed tos, but I was already very nervous walking into the world of wedding dresses, and part of that was that I remembered my last experience where I had to get a formal dress or a big dress or a day you're supposed to feel really beautiful was for my prom in high school. I remembered the overwhelming feeling of insecurity. I remembered having a lot of emotional breakdowns in one too many dressing rooms. Unfortunately, that will come back with this story as well, and a lot of body talk, body checking, a lot of pressure, and a lot of pressure I was putting on myself. Also, I want to be clear about that I'm not blaming anybody else for that. And overall, just, it wasn't the fun experience it was supposed to be. With all of that in mind, I want to start from the beginning of my wedding dress journey and kind of hit on some of the points that people might experience. And we're going to start here with talking about sizing. Again, I'm going to avoid any specific numbers, but what I can tell you, and it's probably pretty commonly known, is that wedding dresses are sized differently. If you're in America at least, wedding dresses are often different than your standard size that you would wear in dresses in America. And I tried to look up why this is, and the main thing that I found was that it tends to be that a lot of the designers or the wedding dresses come from Europe, so they use European sizing instead of American sizing. And so you can expect, the first warning I'm going to give to anybody who fixates on those numbers, you can expect that your dress is going to be a larger sized number than you might be used to wearing. You can expect that it is not going to be exactly what you think, at least with some designers. I do know when I went to more of the chain stores, a place like David's Bridal, I was very close to my typical size that I tend to wear. But when I went to boutiques, and my dress that I ended up with is 3 sizes larger. So here I am going to use a number to try to make it a little more clear, but I'm going to purposely use a number that is definitely not my dress size. Let's say that somebody was wearing a size 100. If I went to a place like a David's Bridal, I would probably be like 102 or 104. But if I went to a boutique, there were times where my dress size was actually double what my size was. And that only happened once or twice, I will say. I don't know if it was the fit. I don't know if maybe some dresses I tried on were stretched out, whatever the case may be. But unfortunately, the first place I went was where the dresses tended to be many sizes larger than mine. So they tended to be 6 to 10 sizes larger than the size that I wear. I have tried in recent years, because I am what you would call a diet culture dropout, I am trying all the time to value more how I feel in clothes than the number on the tag, and value more how the clothes feel on me. Do I feel confident? Are they comfortable? That should really be a thing. Are they functional? Are they things I can wear to my job? Things like that are what I've tried to focus more on. But once in a while, inevitably, I see that number and it gets very challenging for me. So you can imagine that the first time I try on wedding dress is already a little concerned, because I know my past with struggling with body image. I know my past with struggling with trying on dresses. And now here I am, and I am double, nearly double, if not double, the size that I think I should be. Most of the time that will not happen. I do think that maybe it was just the designer I was trying on or something. Like I said, I don't know what it could have been. So my first tip that's going to go along with this, if you are somebody who's extraordinarily sensitive to sizing, there's kind of 2 options I can give you here. The first would be that when you go, you're almost always working with some kind of bridal consultant or something. They might let you pull dresses, but for the most part, if you were trying on a wedding dress, there is somebody responsible to make sure you're able to get zipped up. There's somebody right there for questions at all times. So what I actually did in a couple of the stores, I asked them to get me my dresses, and I did not look at the sizes. I didn't ask for the sizes if I could avoid it. The one disclaimer I'm going to give you, if you go to do this, do note that you're going to know that number at some point, probably, especially if you're paying for your own dress, when you sign the contract, if there's a contract involved, when you go to buy it, it might be on the receipt. So it's not that this is a completely unavoidable thing, but that helped me to really see the dress instead of see the number. So the next thing I really want to talk about here, and I would say the second most challenging part of this, was body checking. For those who have never heard the term body checking, it refers to the obsessive thought or behavior about appearance. I'm reading from that definition there. If you have never been in a wedding warehouse or anything like that, a boutique, anything, or even just in a dressing room, there are mirrors everywhere. So if you're somebody who already struggles with this propensity to fixate or to get stuck on your image, it is very challenging when you're staring in the mirror. Part of the reason I wanted to talk about this was that I ordered my dress and then I went to get my dress. And the first time I tried my dress on, I was so in love with it. I was so happy. I didn't have the reaction I felt like I was supposed to have. There's that word again. But I still loved my dress and I did feel beautiful in it and I felt comfortable in it, which was really great. And then the next time I went to try it on, there was an adjustment that needed to be made. And I wasn't sure if I was happy about this adjustment or not. And as they were talking about it, I was standing, staring at a mirror for 25 minutes while they were doing my bustle. For those that don't know, it's how you get your train to stop dragging on the floor. While they were showing my sister I had a corset on my dress, how to tie the corset, things like that. And I just got so overwhelmed because I fixated and I found a spot. And the longer I was looking, the more it became body checking and the more I was struggling. So I really recommend, if you're able to, or if you feel like this is something you are going to struggle with, if you feel like you're going to look in the mirror and that's going to happen, I recommend maybe turn away for a little bit. If you're there, don't let that be your main focus. Bring somebody with you to try on these dresses. This is where we're going next. That is going to make you laugh. That is going to have fun with you. Overall, body checking was something that I found made me love my wedding dress less. Something that I wish I had found a little earlier, and I do recommend that you work with either a therapist or somebody, a support group, something. Do not do this just on your own. But I had found some help in the days leading up to getting my wedding dress. I started tallying how often I was body checking. I almost made a video about it just in my everyday life. How often was I getting fixated? How long was I spending doing it? It was something that my therapist at the time was actually asking me to do. So that was something that kind of helped me, because after you get used to checking it, then the next stage that I was told to do was, okay, now what purpose is this serving for you? And having that question to stop me in my tracks helped me. It helped me to say, what am I trying to prove? What am I looking for? And what purpose is this serving? And often the answer was, this is serving no purpose other than to hurt me. So again, that's not a tip that I necessarily would say do on your own. It is something that you might want to consult with a psychologist about or something like that. But it did help me with monitoring myself, checking my own behavior, and checking my own thought patterns. Now I want to go backwards as we go forwards to before I had my wedding dress. Now, body checking was something that I was doing in every single dress that I was trying on. And there is a difference between looking at the dress and fixating on different spots and the negative body talk that was happening. But there was a point where I got checked on my body checking because somebody that was with me said to me, I know what you're looking at. If it's going to bother you, and I loved this line, if it is going to bother you, if you are going to be upset that day, don't get this dress. Don't let the day of your wedding become about you feeling uncomfortable in your dress. And that to me was actually a really good moment to be checked on that. And it also gave me the opportunity to say, how am I going to feel that day? It took me out of how do I look and brought me back to how do I feel, which I thought was very helpful. And it's hard to walk that line. So now that brings us perfectly into the next topic. Who should you bring with you to try on your wedding dress, or frankly, any clothing that you're uncomfortable with? I personally recommend you bring the most validating person that you can bring. And the main reason I say that is because when you find a dress or a piece of clothing that you love, you feel comfortable in, one of the worst feelings is when you step out in it and somebody reacts and says, oh no, that's not the one, that's not it. That pair of pants isn't it. Of course you want somebody to be honest with you. Bring somebody who is equal parts honest and validating. Do not bring somebody just because they say they want to be there. It does not have to be your maid of honor. It doesn't have to be your parent. Obviously, there are things that we can get into there that goes all into the wedding culture of, is somebody how do you balance what you want and what somebody else wants. But also, if you're somebody who maybe you really know what you want and you don't want other people's opinions, that's okay. If you know what you want, it is okay to go by yourself, find your perfect dress, and then go back with other people. If you have somebody in your life that really wants to be there when you get your dress, you can go and pick out a dress and then have that in your gut, prepare yourself that you know this is what you want, and then go back with them. One of the things that might be really helpful is to know what types of cuts that you feel comfortable in. Go to your closet, pick your favorite outfit, put it on, pick your outfit that you're most comfortable in, put that on and think, what do I love about this? And that might be a great way to guide your wedding dress process. What dress did you feel most confident in your life? How does that translate to a wedding dress? Things like that. This brings us to the part of the story that I'm kind of embarrassed about. One of the places that I was trying on wedding dresses, there was a dress that I tried on, and everybody thought it looked beautiful. And I don't even really remember, but there was something about it that I absolutely disliked. I felt like it made me look unattractive. I didn't feel comfortable in it. And honestly, I didn't like how my body looked in it. And I voiced that. I said, I didn't say it like this, but to be more proper, I don't like how my body looks in this. And the person who was putting on my dress looked at me and said, are you kidding? And I had that experience a couple times. It felt like any time that I voiced that I felt like a dress didn't look good on me, that immediately people's response was to say, oh, but you look great. No, you look perfect. But realistically, if somebody is telling you, I don't feel comfortable in this, I don't look comfortable, the best thing you can say to them is, oh, that's okay. Even if you think they're beautiful, even if you think they look great, you could say, oh, well, I think you look wonderful, but if this isn't for you, that's fine, let's try on the next one. Because I always felt like people were trying to convince me that I looked good. But it wasn't about me knowing if I looked good or bad, it was about me feeling unhappy with it. And so to have the emotional support without emotional invalidation was really helpful. But prepare yourself for that a lot of the time when you want to say, this is how I'm feeling, a lot of the time people want it to be rainbows and butterflies, just like in the normal world and not wedding world. It was that day, actually, that as I was trying on the dresses, I went to put one on, and they passed me another one, and I got so overwhelmed. I unzipped the dress, I apologized to the bridal consultant, and I went outside crying. I left the store crying and feeling so down about myself, and then disappointed that I was down about myself. I consider myself to be somebody who's body positive. I genuinely consider myself to be somebody who values health over anything else, who does see the value of healthy at every size. I am that person. I want to be that person. And I'm trying to learn how to be that person for myself too. And it's a hard road to walk. And when we left, my mom just hugged me, which was a really helpful moment, just to have that hug and just to not really have to talk about it too much. There was another point where we were in the car and I was crying in the car and everybody said, what can I do for you? And I said, I just need to sit. I just need to deal with this on my own right now, because there was nothing that I was going to change. I really committed to the fact that I wasn't going to let this bring me back into diet culture. I was not going to let this bring me back to restricting what I was allowed to eat. I wasn't going to let this bring me back to demanding my body be something different than what it is at its healthiest stage. And I'm proud of myself for that. So that brings me to my final tip. Be kind to yourself and understand your limits. If your limits include you needing to leave one day or cancel an appointment, that is okay. It can be very challenging. You might want to persevere through it. And there are definitely times where I pushed myself, and it feels ridiculous to say, but it felt like pushing myself to try on another dress. But there were days where I knew I was done. And no matter what dress I had tried on after that, I wouldn't have wanted to find my wedding dress feeling the way that I felt in those moments. I wouldn't have wanted to find my wedding dress when I was feeling that down about myself in that moment, if I could have avoided it. And be kind to yourself. There's so much pressure to lose weight if you're trying on a wedding dress. I'm in a couple of groups. I had to leave groups that were actually kind of helpful with like wedding planning and things like that, because it felt like every other day I would see somebody posting, how do I lose X amount of weight really quickly? Here's this crazy diet tip that I have. And I felt myself being sucked back into it. I felt myself wanting to change my body again. I found myself returning to behaviors that I hadn't returned to since high school. And I found myself amidst a lot of triggers at once. People asking me about it, people sending me tips on it, people posting about their wedding and how much weight loss they lost, people that were attending my wedding telling me they were losing weight for my wedding and how much pressure they felt to do that. And I felt guilty for that. I just wanted everybody to be body positive for themselves. And I wasn't giving myself that same love and that same support. And that brings me to, I guess, my official final tip. Buy the outfit or the dress that you do not have to change for. Because you don't have to change wherever you are at. If you are healthy, that's the most important thing. If you are loving your body and you are taking care of it and you are treating it like the thing you have to live in for the rest of your life, that is the most important thing. So I'm going to say it again. Buy the one you don't have to change for. And honestly, that's part of how I picked my dress. As I was trying on dresses, I noticed the things that I felt uncomfortable with. The ways it fit that felt uncomfortable. And at the end of trying on all of those dresses, I had come up with a cut that I knew I felt confident in and that I didn't need to change for. I had come up with, I am so bad at wedding jargon, I had come up with sleeves that I felt most comfortable in. So I narrowed it down to 3 sleeves at that point. And I gave myself still options, but I knew that. I found the thing I felt the most comfortable with, and then I found the dress that fit those different things. So don't give up when you try on that first dress, because for me, I have heard people say they put on their first dress, they fell in love with it, and that's incredible, and congratulations to you. I didn't have that experience. I tried on a lot of dresses, and I was not somebody who was looking forward to putting on all the pretty dresses. I would have loved to put on my first dress and be done. I really would have loved that. But that wasn't my reality. But ultimately, I did feel comfortable in my dress the day of my wedding. And for all of my insecurities, I was so grateful that I had waited and found something that I loved. I was grateful that I didn't just not get a dress, because there was a point where I did decide I was going to do that. I had a point where I genuinely came home to my fiance and I said, I don't even want to have a wedding because I feel so uncomfortable with this. And again, I'm probably going to have to make a couple videos about weddings and the other things, because this one's already getting kind of long. But from that last tip and a final reminder, you do not have to change. And please, if you are somebody who's struggling with your body image, reach out for support, reach out for help. It feels like one of those things that we're so aware of in a way. We're so aware that it's something a lot of people are struggling with. But I think when we're going through it, we think it's only us. I know that for me personally, I spend a lot of time feeling like the biggest person in the room. I spend a lot of time feeling like people are noticing that I am not what I should be, that I'm not pretty enough, that I'm not the right body type, that I'm not something. I don't even know what I'm trying to be at that point. I spend a lot of my time also realizing how beautiful people are around me and just thinking that nobody could feel the way that I feel because they are so beautiful. So just remember that people are thinking that about you. People are thinking that you're so beautiful that you wouldn't even know it. And we get stuck in our heads sometimes. And it's really isolating in there. So don't stay stuck in your head. As always, there are links in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed my little storyline of trying to find my wedding dress. It is so great to be back. I have a video I'm very excited about next week, because today, as I'm recording it, is also National Coming Out Day. So I have a video I've been planning for a while that I am hoping that we're still able to record. That being said, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe and healthy wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And we'll talk soon. You want to see the puppy? Guys, should I go get the puppy? I'm gonna go get the puppy. Guys, should I go get the puppy? Do you want to meet him? I'll go get the puppy. Come here, Shadow. Come here, buddy boy. Come on, look up from the nap. Come here. Good boy, handsome. Come here. Come here. Come here, baby. Oh. This is our new baby. Say hi, Shadow. Say hi. Okay. This is our baby. He's hard to see because I had to record at night, so that it would be a good time for him. All right. You happy? He didn't get to come to the wedding, so he's a little bummed. Me too, buddy. Me too.